James, hi, this is Jun Yoon from SBS CNBC. Great to have you on the program.
Great to be on the program too. Thank you for having me.
I understand that you are one of the first investors in Nori, which is one of the companies we are discussing today. And I wanted to see what exactly you saw in the initial stages of this company, which aspects of Nori's business model it was that brought you to invest in this company. What possibility and potential did you see in this company?
Well, when we invest in companies, we really look at how big the market is. And as you know, educational market is a very big market overall in the world. And second thing is what is unique about their service and solution. And what Nori really was unique about that it was an adaptive learning platform that adapted to each student's needs and also had a gamification twist. So it was a very unique solution, which was also started from Korea, which is known to have one of the most rigorous so-called out-of-school programs or after-school programs around the world. And this team, which was made up of post-tech engineers and also former so-called after-school teachers, it was a perfect mix because they understood the problem very clearly, and they also had the tech to support their thing right now. So I really believe that rather than in Korea, that this bringing this model to the United States would have a great impact because education is a problem everywhere, but also a big, one of the biggest markets still in the world is the United States.
Okay, that's great. So what can you tell us about Nori's growth potential and competitive advantage? Where do you see Nori going in terms of revenues, securing further capital, user signups, how it will do in other markets globally? How do you see this from an investor perspective?
Well, as I told you right now, education is a key problem or issue for any country in the world.
Right.
And right now, what Nori really caught our eye was that they won the Bloomberg New York City Educational App Award. And automatically they were registered as a New York City educational app, which gave them potential to go to every public school in the United States. So right now, they did a trial last year for 37 states with 8,000 students in schools. So the fact that the validation that they got from the New York City contest now is enabling them to spread in all public schools in the United States as their app right now. And if you go to their site right now, it's in LA, New York, and many of the major cities, which are very focused on increasing math aptitude for their students. So I think there's a great market just not only in the public school, but also there are many private schools right now around the world in every foreign school. Anywhere who has a U.S. educational system is now looking into using this as their teacher's aid and as a program in Singapore, in U.S., in Hong Kong, and in Korea right now, and in the U.K. So I think that the validation of, once again, being a New York City educational vendor provides great credibility to not only the United States, but also in the school. Now, their business model is a subscription model based on the student and also based on schools. So it's a recurring revenue, and then their cost, because it's a digital distribution, you just use it on mobile and on the net. I mean, there's minimum distribution cost. But there's a big data engine in the end that really tailors each educational system program to each student. So there's enormous scale, but minimum fixed cost. So these are the models that which many venture capitalists like us are looking about, that they have great scale, but also they have fixed costs, low fixed costs that can, that will increase so-called the margins and also inevitably the valuation of the company.
Okay. That's great, James. So Korean startups in general are getting a lot of attention globally. Other than Nori, are there any other Korean startups that you see as the next big thing? Give me some predictions. I know that you have invested in many startups in Korea. And tell us more about how you see startups coming out of Korea doing in the future and why they're gaining so much popularity outside of Korea in terms of users, investments, and attention in general.
Well, definitely one of the other startup that we think that is going to make a big hit is MimiBox. And MimiBox first started as a subscription box service. Now they transformed into a private label now cosmetic brand. I think that not only they were the first company to be accepted in Y Combinator, but also now they just opened up their office in Shanghai, and they are grossing every day incredible amount of sales in China right now. Now, I think for Meebox's case that they were very interesting that they were exporting Korean cosmetics. And I think the Korean wave is kind of linked to this also, in the sense that Korea not only is the leader in internet penetration and mobile
Right.
penetration, but now is a cultural exporter. So I think that Meebox and these companies who really leverage so-called Korea's strength, which is
Right.
great IT infrastructure and the Korean wave, are gonna move forward.
Right.
And Gmarket and so-called Coupang, I think there's all the iterations of e-commerce plays based on these infrastructure that I think that many Chinese, especially Chinese companies, and even U.S. venture capitalists are looking to benchmark and possibly bring to their various markets.
Right. Thank you very much for your time, James, today.
Thank you very much for having me.